Okay, I got all you guys. Okay, let me go ahead and give you the list as I've got it. I've just got a bunch of them wrote down in the order that I heard. Number 1 is Mike, W7MS. Number 2 is Ron, NU6F. Number 3 is Jerry, W6JRY. Number 4 is Dave, W6MQI. Number 5 is Tom, WA6OPE. Number 6 is Bill, N6BCT. Number 7 is Steve, W6SSP. And Henry, WA7YBS is number 8. That's just going by who I've heard in the order I've heard them by. So if there's anybody else that wants to go ahead and call or recall in or whatever, go ahead now.
Well, this is WR6K. WR6K.
Larry, is that you?
Yeah, that's me, WR6K. Long time no hear.
Yeah, you got a booming signal into Dayton this morning. Well, welcome back, WR6K. I've got you in the number 9 spot, Larry. It's good to have you this morning. Okay, who wants to check in, be number 10? Come now.
I don't see, K6 Ian Sliceman here.
I got you, Burnby, a K6VXY. I've got you in the 10 spot, sir. Good morning. Let's see. Who wants to be number 11? Come now. Okay, one more last call for number 11. Anybody want to check in on the first round? Come now. Okay, well, good morning, gentlemen. Boy, we have a nice bunch for the first round this morning. It's nice and cool and crisp here this morning. I'll let Henry give the weather. I don't know the temperature or anything, but everything's nice and damp, and the air looks clean, and it's nice and cool here in Dayton this morning. So anyway. This is K0DWC, and I'll be net control today for the Vintage Military Radio Net. And the Vintage Military Radio Net is an AM roundtable net that provides an opportunity for for licensed hams to operate their vintage military radio gear on the air. And military gear is encouraged, but it's certainly not required. Check-ins will be given a number. They can be used in the handoff, and I'll call for check-ins at the end of each roundtable session. If anyone has anything for sale or has a want, please mention it during your turn in the roundtable session. So I'll give the rundown here, and we'll go ahead and start and get going. So number 1 is Mike, W7MS. Good morning, Mike. Number 2 is Ron, NU6F. Good morning, Ron. Number 3 is Jerry, W6JRY. Good morning, Jerry. Number 4 is Dave, W6MQI. Good morning, Dave. In the 5 spot is Tom, WA6OPE. Good morning, Tom. In the 6 spot is Bill, N6BCT. Good morning, Bill. In the number 7 spot is excuse me, Steve, W6SSP. Good morning, Steve. In the 8th spot is Henry, WA7YBS. Good morning there, bud. In the 9th spot is Larry, WR6K. Good morning, Larry. And Byrne, K6BXY in the number 10 spot. Good morning, Byrne. So, anyway, let's see here. Well, I'll give you my rundown, and we'll get started on the first round here. We're running the standard net control station, a W4DVQ ART13, T32 microphone with the Electret module, 200 watts, inverted V, listening on a 1962 Teledyne R390A. That's the rundown here. So anyway, let's get going, and we'll send it over to Reno, to Mr. Mike, W7MS. Mike, you got a good signal in here this morning too, so go ahead. This is K0DWC.
Well, thank you, Chuck. And the group here. I'll just say good morning to everybody. I'm hearing everybody, including Bill, on his check-in transmission. So good morning to everybody, and life is good. Of course, I think sounds generally regional-wise. We got quite a bit of rain. I think I had a little bit over 2/10, and even 1/10 of an inch after midnight. So it was an exciting precipitation event. I guess even a mudslide at Casino Fandango in Carson City. I saw that on the web this morning. Nice shot of all that mud in the parking lot. So I didn't realize we were moving to Oregon, and it's now rainy season, but it's certainly been that way the past couple of weeks. So this morning, running the Quincy Johnson 500, listening on the Rohde and Schwartz EK07D. Some would say Rode, I say Rohde. But that's the short lineup. Financial wrap-up on last week's swap meet at Brad's. I won't give dollar amounts, but I only spent 22% of my gross proceeds on the intake side. So that's a pretty good ratio, I think. We'll run that by the Treasury Department, and also that doesn't include intake of freebies and outtake of freebie items. So that's the setup here. And over to Ron, who's probably got a lot to say this morning. NU6F, W7MS.
W7MS, NU6F. Yeah, likewise. I hear everybody great, and QS, you know, a bunch of QSB like we've had, but that's about it. So other than that, good deal. And Chuck, sounding good on the Carla ART13. And Mike, yeah, I haven't heard that Johnson rig for a while. So yeah, even that's getting recycled through the operating position. And the TD running with the MG set in the background and the RAL receiver and on the loop. I took down the long wire, so this is the last transmission before we switch to CU8 land in a couple of days. Okay, with that, let's pass it up to Forest Ranch, W6JRY, NU6F.
Okay, very good, Ron. NU6F and the group W6JRY. Good signals from everybody here. With no S-meter, I can't tell what, but very good signals here this morning coming through here in Forest Ranch. Sunny day. Been having thunderstorms in the afternoon moving in here, coming and going. Weather seems to be very erratic, and mostly no radio activities to mount anything during the week. Been still working on a lot of yard work here from last winter. Finally got the fence in front here. We have a split rail fence around the front of the house, and it's been there for 40 years, and it was starting to cave out toward the road. Finally got my son up here to help me. Snow had drifted into it from the last winter, and it just about done it in, but we got it kind of straightened out there. So let me keep it going here, and over to Dave, W6MQI and the group W6JRY.
All right, W6JRY, W6MQI. Good morning to all. Jerry, you got a nice signal down here in Livermore. Not hearing the Nevada guys too well. Mike was pretty loud, but Chuck, boy, it was brutal trying to hear you there a few times, Chuck. And Ron wasn't real loud either, so I think I got a little bit of a noise level here today. Atmospheric and in the shack here. We're running the GRC 106 this morning again. And see, temperature here is 58 degrees, overcast. It was overcast yesterday. It didn't kind of burn off till later in the day. And we had our local Livermore rodeo with a full house. And we had VIP tickets, went to that, and enjoyed ourselves. And my wife and daughter were in the parade along with our dogs for LARPD, where my wife works. So, busy yesterday. And in the meantime, I've been working on the second GRC 106 amplifier. I had that meltdown a while back. Ended up finding a washer, stainless steel washer floating around inside the PA deck. Not good. So I pulled that out, went through to all sorts of checks, and it's up and running, but that's about all I can say. It's oscillating above 27 megs. Could be just a really bad alignment issue. I don't know. It's so many basic built. It can affect other things with that, with these radios, so it's going to be kind of a long process, possibly get that one back on the air. I sure would like to have a second amplifier. I'd like to have a second RT working too. I have extra single sideband filters for upper and lower sideband. I'd like to do that modification to one of my RTs. It's kind of cool to operate the lower sideband with one of these. What else? I think that, I also took my PP47 73, is that it? Power supply and converted it over to 220 volts, so it's purring along, and took the noisy fan out of the power supply and put a quiet fan in there, so trying to cut down on some of the noise in the software, but unfortunately the noise fan from the amplifier, that's kind of had to be a given. So, but anyway, who am I passing to? Tom. Over to you, Tom. WA6OPE, W6MQI.
Okay, W6MQI, WA6OPE. Very good, Dave. You're top dog this morning here for sure. Nice signal. Very nice. And congratulations on your success with the GRC 106s. You've made a lot of progress. And I wonder if you've ever got into that problem of having a wideband single sideband signal. That'd be fun. Ouch. So anyway, good morning to everybody. This is Tom in beautiful Richmond, where it's cool and gray. High fog. And it's been that way here a lot. Cool and gray and windy. Cold. So, I don't know. Actually, I like it that way rather than hot. Okay, let's see here. Signal reports. Yeah, I second the motion as far as the Nevada stations. Mike was about Q3. Ron was about Q4. Jerry, nice and loud, Q5. MQI, top dog. I have not heard N6BCT yet. SSP, nice and loud. YBS was weak, but all I heard was just one time, one transmission, and there is some QSB, very noticeable. And a new call to me, WR6K, good morning to you. Don't know you, never talked to you before, certainly don't recognize the call. And good morning to K6BXY. We are on our usual World War II U.S. Navy setup, TCM transmitter, RBC receiver, the usual, and we're still on the temporary make-do antenna. so running about 65, 70 watts, something like that. And we will keep it moving. There's a big crowd in here, so we'll keep her going. Over to N6 BCT. This is WA6OPE.
Yeah, WA6OPE, N6 Toronto, Daniel. Somebody on my list anyway. So anyway, I'm still here, and I'm going to talk this down on 2 o'clock this afternoon, and I have to, because of the situation here, I can only get the phone on my cell phone, so I have to drive up to the place where I can get the cell phone to work, and then I can talk to him. Alright, so that's my plan. So I don't know who it goes to. I think it's W6SSP, but I'm not sure. Go ahead.
Okay, Bill, thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. This is Steve, W6SSP, just north of Santa Rosa. Very, very high noise floor here today, so some of you guys are right at the noise floor, including Chuck. And top dogs are Jerry, Dave, and Tom. And you guys are really booming in here, but everybody else is pretty marginal today. Anyway, let's see, I had some fun yesterday. Trying to put the BC312 and BC342 on the bunch. First time I'd opened the cabinets and I get to see anything, any radios that are battery houses. Just horrible. It's a shame because one of them has a near perfect front panel and the other one is trashed, completely trashed. So I've never worked on these before, so without having a stock one in front of me, I don't think these are repairable. So I think these are going to go back in storage, and next on the bench will be TCS 14 setup. So that'll be fun coming up this week. Chuck, I wasn't able to hear who I turned this over to, so I'll leave it over to you to pass on to the next guy. It's W6SSP.
Okay, I'll pick it up there. And W6SSP, WA7YBS. Okay? Let me make sure I'm not doubling. Okay. Good morning to all. Pretty good signals, but, you know, got to back off a little bit there. But maybe a lot of modulation might help with the conditions the way they are. Yeah, I noticed that Tom, WA6OPE, who's usually quite strong here, is down from his normal. So, you know, instead of being like 20 or 30 over S9, you're about S8. Not bad, really. So anyway, all stations are Q4 to Q5, and of course, Mike, Ron, Jerry, Dave, and even Steve. I shouldn't say even Steve, even Bill. Pretty good signals. Well, we're on the 32V1 today, running about 110 watts or so carrier power, and so a little bit different transmitter, same microphone, so it probably sounds the same as always. Yeah, I just swap, you know, microphone goes from one transmitter to another, so, you know, keep everything consistent that way. Temperature this morning was 47 here. We didn't get all that much rain yesterday, some, but you know, not a tremendous amount. So that was good, but you know, who knows what's going to happen today. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I go out and I use the tractor and the mower to take down about the back, I don't know, 3 or 4 acres of weeds. And then as soon as I get done, it rains.
So needless to say, I have an excellent crop of weeds. It almost looks like pasture out there now. But yeah, mowing is brutal. Anyway, let's see. The interesting thing today is I'm I'm listening on the 51J1 receiver. It's serial number 65, so it's an early one. And of course the 51J1, the difference between it and a J2, for instance, is the J1 has an S meter. It's the same S meter that's in the 75A1. So it's a amber-faced, just, regular standard S meter. And there's quite a few other little minor differences between the initial receiver, the J1, and the J2. And the main thing is of course, they just, they were getting ready for production with the J1. And this is Collins. And of course, when the J2 came out, they were ready to go. They built a bunch of those. Probably around 2,500 to 3,000 51 J2s compared to about 500, probably less than 500 J1s. Very kind of hard to find. Anyway, if you're wondering how I know the serial number, seeing as it was ink stamped, and generally the ink stamp doesn't survive on the 51 J1s or the J2s. Little trick, probably watching too much Forensic Files or something like that, but I used an ultraviolet flashlight to illuminate the ink residue, and there it is. You can see the serial number. And so, little trick, use an ultraviolet flashlight if the ink stamping is faded to oblivion. So with that, let me turn it over to Jerry, WR6K WA7YBS.
All right, well, thank you, Henry, WA7YBS, a voice from the past. Back when I was living in San Jose, I used to check into the net, and I would always hear you on every Sunday, and so it's good to hear you again. Glad to know you're still kicking. I'm still kicking, but just barely. And also, I want to say good morning to Ron, NU6F. You probably don't remember me. You haven't said anything yet. But, we go back quite a few years to the NESEC 220 days, back at the San Jose Navy Reserve Center. And I just wonder if you remember me now, Ron. This is Larry, Chief Pizzella, you might have remembered me as. Hey, I've seen your website, and it's just really good to see you're doing well and having a good time restoring all that old Navy gear. I remember you used to do that even whenever when we were together in NESEC 220. And boy, you haven't stopped, and I've seen some of the beautiful work you've done on your QRZ page. So anyway, I moved to Sacramento. I'm in Sacramento now, and I'm retired, and just trying to enjoy the years that I have left, and just finally got back on 75, and really glad to be able to do that. I'm gonna have to. Boy, I'm telling you, I'm watching my final, and it's just glowing cherry red. It doesn't like AM, that's for sure. Running an AL80A amplifier, and I don't have any military gear. All I have is my regular gear. Anyway, hopefully the signals are holding up. I will turn it over to Vern now, and Ron, if you have any comments, I'd like to hear, see if you can remember me. And I'm copying just about everybody pretty well. Most everybody's Q5, and of course the QSB. So anyway, Vern, let me turn it over to you, and I didn't get your call down. I can't remember your call. I'll write it down when you come back. This is WR6K. Go ahead, Vern.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Sacramento, you have the strongest signal. They were giving out signal reports earlier. Hopefully you hear me okay now. Yeah, I've got this thing tuned up. I got the linear working again, so I got 8 watts in and 80 watts out, and it seems to be working okay. Nothing's blowing up, and the coax is okay, and we did get some rain last night. We got
enough to make the ground wet. And earlier in the week, was that Tuesday or Wednesday, somewhere in there, we got enough to make the ground extra wet. But I measured it. I have a little rain gauge out there. I call it a trace because it didn't even reach 1/10 of an inch on the gauge. But we got some rain. But I saw a report on the news out of Sacramento, I think it was Channel 3, that was showing that the amount of snow that's coming down now from the melt, and that people going up Nevada and Vernal Falls are getting very wet and to take an umbrella because there's so much spray coming off the waterfall. And Yosemite Falls was flowing pretty good too. So that's the rain report. And Larry, your signal is for some reason it's very, very strong. It's the strongest. And you're actually holding 10 over. I'm running what looks like a military unit. It's IC 7200. It's a great little rig, and I got an SM30 microphone with it. And right next to it is my proud-to-own Arc 5. It's sitting there as I said it would be. It sits between my tuner and my SB200 linear here. And it's got a proud spot. I kind of dusted it off, put a little damp cloth on it, and I can hear the fan going now, so it's working a little bit in the linear. But it's there, proud as can be. And I haven't started working on that, but I've been doing a lot of manual work. I got a manual for the radio I got from Mike, a super good looking thing here. I found the rubber bumpers, I forget what they're called, adhesive things I'm going to put on the bottom of some more stuff. And then I've been working on my 2 meter stuff here. And I plan to do some antenna work this week, and probably going to get another relay because we've had another lightning storms coming in today. So I've got some antennas disconnected, and I've got it's an Alpha Delta one where you can ground everything, and I want to do that for the 2 meter stuff too. So let's see what else I was going to comment on. Enjoyed the swap. The video was great, and I couldn't believe it. The net we had last Sunday was on. I know Mike said something about that before, that he was listening to the net when he had missed just before the swap, and it was on something. And I think that said AMI or W9 AMI, AM International, it could almost stand for. Maybe that's what it is. That's one of the, let's see, I did get some certificates back after the fire. Yeah, I've got my AMI certificate, number 1268, yeah. Got that a long time ago. Anyhow, the Arc 5 will be a project for the future, and but right now I'm doing a lot of antenna work, and the squirrel attack was vicious while I was gone, or maybe just before I was gone. I've never seen him tear a rope apart. Ron got a little bit of a souvenir of it, but I managed, I saved it before the antenna went down, and I hooked it to the side of the house. I got a spot there that I think is going to be okay. What I had where they got to it was I had looped over about a 3-foot section of hooks, vertical, and that's where I looped the rope over and over again, you know, the extra rope on the tree. And I guess when they got to it, they went just crazy. They just chewed the blazes out of all of it. And I haven't figured out how to send pictures to people or whatever. I was thinking of sending a picture, but unless I have your email address or phone number, I have no way of doing it. So I got some pictures I'd like to show. I got a couple nice ones of Mike and Ron when they're over there together behind Mike's really nice looking car there. That antenna is something else. I don't know how much power it runs, but it definitely will go down. I'm sure might even run 160. Anyhow, let's see. And hello, like I said again, to WR6K. I think I was talking to you before the net started. So let me turn it over to back to Chuck. And I get everybody just fine. But some of the stations like MQI and Larry are a little extra strong, maybe being in California, but everyone else is coming in just fine. And as soon as I say that, the band's going to fall apart, right? Okay, over to you, Larry. Chuck, this K6 VXY.
Okay, Vern, K6 VXY, K0DWC, well, very good. You know, some stations were up and down a little bit, mainly the California stations. It's kind of like a reverse deal almost, but, you know, like Henry said, I mean, you guys are copyable. Not really a problem. Thank goodness for R390s and R398s, because it made it easy. But yeah, I heard everybody, even Bill. Bill was coming in really well as well, and you know, not a problem. I guess it's just conditions, but it's definitely doable. So that's all that matters. But anyway, okay. Let me see here. Let me just make a quick call to see if there's anybody who wants to get on the tail end of the...
W6 Able, Queen, Uncle.
Let me jump in there because it sounds like Chuck blew a fuse again on the Brute. Yeah, there's Bob, W6AQ, AQU. Go ahead and make a transmission, Bob, and turn it back over to me, WA7YBS, and we'll check and see if Chuck has got the fuse changed by then. So go ahead, Bob. This is WA7YBS.
Okay, very good. Thank you. W6 Able, Queen, Uncle. Located 8 miles from the Oregon border, Northern California. Helping everybody pretty good on an R388. Transmitter's a T368. Antenna's a full half-wave. Well, good morning to everybody. My golly. MS, open signal over here. Ron, this is going to be your last time here for a few months. Have a good trip over there and back. JRY. Morning, Jerry. Moving in down here. Enjoyed the pictures you sent here last week on the wildlife up there. Very good. That's an awful big cat to be in the mouth of that critter. And OPE is doing very good on his antenna repairs. MQI are very strong here, Dave. Bill, I'm even copying from Half Moon Bay. There's still some distortion on your signal for whatever reason. Steve, FST, SST, good signal from Santa Rosa. And Henry, you're actually the weakest of all for whatever reason. From the antenna location, directions. Mine's going the wrong way for yours, I think. Yeah, I didn't figure out what happened at Chuck there. He, for some reason, is gone and you took over again. That's what's happening. WR6K, I remember you from a long, long time ago. But you were someplace else. I think you moved out of SAC. And Vern, your low power that you have been running, certainly you're doing better now with that little amplifier. All the way down. Well, jamming it down, he just downhill way there from the road. Well, that's really about the whole rundown here. We also are going to have some more thunderstorms this evening, I think. That's been the main thing here, it seems like, for the last week. After we left the swamp, we took the long way home. It took us 2 days, 2.5 days to get home. Burned a lot of gasoline. So with that, I'll kick it back to Henry. WA7 YBS. W6A Queen Uncle.
Okay, Bob. W6AQU, WA7YVS. Yeah, you're doing good in here. S9 or so. And, yeah, I imagine I'm on the collinear array, but it is pointing northwest, southeast. So it might, you might be in one of them nulls. There, instead of on a nice lobe, you're in one of the nulls. So you never know. Let's see if Chuck's back. See if he got that fuse changed in the brute. K0DWC, are you present?
Yeah, I'm back. I blew a line cord fuse again. I guess I got to go to a higher amperage, but that's all it was. So I'm all fixed up. So I'm not sure exactly where we're at. I heard Bob, W6AQU, I guess he's in the number 11 spot. So I heard him make his transmission. So I guess, Henry, does it go back up to the top then? Is that where we're at?
That's correct. Yeah, we're at the end of the line, ready to start round 2. Go ahead.
Okay, bud. Thanks for picking me up on that. That was unexpected, but thank you. Okay, and good morning, Bob, W6AQU. I heard you, sir. You sound great. And glad you could be with us again this morning, so thank you for that. So with that, and I apologize for the intermittent problem there, fellas, but you know how it is. Like Mike said, it's just amateur radio. Anything can happen. So anyway, we'll send it back over to Mike. W7MS in the group, K0DWC. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, thank you, Chuck, and great to hear it was a simple fix with the fuse. K0DWC and the Vintage Military Net Sunday edition, W7MS, Mike and Reno. Well, good morning, dog. Good reception from all, including Bill. And with the standard amount of distortion, it's always been there, Bob. It's the way it is, I think, with Bill. But it's always a pleasure to hear he. Thanks for all the comments. Great some equipment rundown, and we'll be awaiting Ron's recognition of Larry from the olden days when they were both young gentlemen, I think, in the Naval Reserve. So we'll hear that story. But again, great to hear everybody in various projects. Sorry, Steve, to hear about your disappointment with the with those 2 receivers. I think I know at least several people on frequency that feel your pain and understand how those receivers were so prone to heavy hamster modifications. And I'm sure these would have been of no use to you, but I actually threw three BC312 carcasses in the garbage can. And I told the story at the swap meet that I was going to bring them out as freebies. But I looked at them and just said, nobody's going to take these, and I'm going to have to bring them back. And so they went off to the landfill Wednesday morning with Waste Management. So that's one of those stories. But there wasn't much there. They were probably in similar conditions to what you're putting on hold there in Santa Rosa. But great to hear everybody, and great to hear Bob from Montague here the last couple of Sundays. So nice to easily assume that some of those interference issues have subsided. So projects here from last Saturday. I've been working on the Mackie MSR 8000 transceivers. That was a commercial military mil-spec transceiver, I think formulated in the early mid-1980s, and probably was manufactured up into the 90s when Mackie went out of business there on the East Coast. So that's been my project. Things are looking good there. And I've got one in olive drab, and I've got the other version in navy green. So I'm official for all services, I think, and commercial applications. So over to you, Ron, NU6F, W7MS.
Okay, good deal. See if I got it. Yeah, I do. Well, good deal, guys. Yeah, what a surprise. Well, let's see. I'll go top to bottom. Chuck, glad to see you found a penny to stick in the line cord fuse. And Mike, Great on the Mackie transceiver. Yeah, you know, I'm trying to think. Of course, by that time, my Uncle Jim had already long retired from Mackie Marine, but that's kind of cool you got that. And, yeah, let's see. I got, and Dave, you are persistent, and that always pays off. People always ask me, how did you get that stuff fixed? Persistence. It counts a lot more than knowledge. So, great. And Tom, okay on still having the temporary antenna going and being in the fog. Yeah, signals are all over the place. So, yeah, no one from California is as strong as normal. And like Henry said, Steve's signal on his last transmission was way stronger than MQI and some of the others, at least here. And Larry, what a surprise. I often wondered, I was just sending you an email, often wondered, whatever happened to Larry? I talked to Jim, W6LFB, low-flying buzzard, down there in Denton, Texas. I usually cross on 20-meter CW, and usually it's we're both hanging around the same DX station in a pile-up get in, and then we QSY up the band. But yeah, Larry and I were. I'm trying to think. Jim wasn't the other Jim wasn't a ham yet. Davis. He wasn't a ham yet, but. I've also talked to him, but anyhow, we had 4 hams in our San Jose Navy Reserve unit in NESEC 220. So that's great. And when I talk to Jim next time, I'll let him know. Hey, guess who's moved out of San Jose and over this way? Well, that's great. And you look at the QRZ picture. You just look a little bit older, but hey. You still got more hair than me, I think, so that's pretty good. And Vern, okay on the school report? Yeah. Well, you know, I'm trying to think. I don't think I ever had the squirrels get to that stuff over at my place there in above Colfax. And Bob, yeah, this is my last transmission before we switch over to CU8. /NU6F, and horrible connections and flights tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow night before midnight. I won't be there until Wednesday morning. Whatever. The airfare and connections it's pretty bad this year. But yeah, and the other Larry story, my brother Larry, we had a couple of things this week. Took him in for his last series of chemo. He's been clean for 2 months now, so doctor said continue with the treatment for the last 2, but he's doing great. And to celebrate, we went ahead and located his hamsterized military project. We went ahead and picked up an M37 Dodge Power Wagon, 1952, down there in Carson City. And the trip up here, my friend George's trailer it was an odyssey, but we made it all in one piece, and hardly any rust in this thing. It was, someone started hamsterizing it, trying to convert the ignition over to 12 volt, but the original 24 volt distributor is still there, and the waterproof one. The coil, he ordered a coil and some other odds and ends, but it's going to be a fun project. And so that's Lucky Larry's big project. Okay, Jerry, back up to you, Forest Ranch, W6JRY, NU6F.
Okay, Ron, NU6F in the group, W6JRY. Ron, well, when you get over there to the Azores, send me an email, let me know when you get situated, and maybe we can have another couple of QSOs or something. Probably 17 or 20 meters. Don't think we can do They don't do too well on 40. Antennas are a little bit low. My 40 meter antennas now. I don't have a good one on 40 these days. So let me know. And okay on everything with you. Everybody's still good copy. Good morning to Larry, WR6K, not too far from me, down south, about 90 miles in Sacramento. You're extremely strong up here with your AL80A, I think you said. And Bob, good morning to you. You're pounding in here. There is some QSB creeping in, but I'm copying everybody quite good. I think I'm in a good spot for kind of maybe the center or something. I don't know. Henry, you're very strong. I think I get a good low buff from that antenna you're using right now. You're quite strong here. Incidentally, I don't know which email address you're using anymore. I got kind of messed up on whatever you have there. Last time I tried to send something to you, it's using the one off the QRZ. I think it's a Gmail address. And then you had an AT&T address. And one of the addresses I had, the AT&T one, I had messed up, and I'd sent some things, but then I looked and I had something wrong on that. But anyway, you might correct that for me. Steve, okay on your projects there, the BC-12s and the BC-342s and so on. Well, if you need any spare parts, I got 2 or 3 of those things dead around here. Bill, I was copying you okay. You mentioned no cell coverage from where you're at and had to move up somewhere to be able to get connection. It sounds like living in the mountains. And I suppose most of you got the circulation of pictures of that really nice SSTR1 OSS spy radio that Andy acquired. Beautiful. I haven't seen one like that in that nice a condition for many, many years. I remember those. I never owned one of those, but those were advertised quite a lot back in the from the 60s, 70s, so on in fair radio. I should have acquired one then, but now I'm not acquiring anything as far as that goes. I'm trying to get rid of stuff. But that was a really nice radio, so he was picked up another one for his ever-growing spy collection there. See here. Anyway, I don't have a whole lot more here to comment on. It's a big group, so I'll keep it moving. And over to you there, Dave. Your GRC 106 sounds great here. You're pounding in no problems so far up here. Maybe a little QSB moving in, but it's a little hard to tell. W6MQI and the group, W6JRY.
W6JRY, W6MQI. Alright, Jerry. Yeah, signals are fading for me. So I'll probably make this my last transmission, say 73, but Ron, yeah, Lucky Larry, that M37 is going to keep him busy while you're gone. I don't think Lucky Larry goes with you, but to the Azores. But he's got himself quite the project there. It's going to be fun. And yeah, persistence with the 106. Yeah, it's more like possessed, I guess. At the beginning of that, I was going to say I'm on Chuck's nice, beautiful GRC 106, but there really isn't much left of it anymore. I've changed things around so much, even the cases. Chuck's GRC 106 really doesn't exist anymore. So, yeah, it's been quite the adventure. Frustrating and fun at the same time. And Tom, I haven't really addressed the single sideband issue. You know, it seems to be worse, or the worst, I guess, on 75 meters. Because I operated on 60 meters, and it seems to be, you know, okay. I mean, as usual, the audio seems a bit on the hot side, but the bandwidth seems to be okay. So I don't know. Still no on that one. What else? Steve, yeah, BC 312. I had a BC 342 that was pretty well hacked when I got it, and it had no RF deck in it. And I got it all back together and working, and then used it for a little while and pulled it out and set off to the side, and I don't know, a year or so later I got back into it and I decided to realign it, and something went poof inside, and the hell with it. I didn't even feel like messing with it, and I was at the point of almost just tossing mine in the garbage as well, and Andy goes, no, I'll take it. So Andy took it, and he got it going again. I never did find out what he found out what was wrong with it, but one of these days I'll have to ask him. But anyway, I think I'm going to bail out of here. Conditions aren't very conducive for using the GRC 106. So 73 everybody, and here you go, Tom. Over to you, WA60PE, W6MQI.
W6MQI, WA60PE. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for answering my question about the GRC 106 wideband single sideband. Yeah, that's man, that could be a tough problem to find. And yes, BC 312s and 342s, the BC 348s, and ARC-5 SCR 274Ns, they probably were the victim of hamsters more than anything else. And with the 312 and the 342, of course, the ugly plug's got to come off right away. And a couple extra toggle switches have got to be added. And oh yeah, you got to hog a big old hole in the front panel, nice big thick front panel. Got to get an S meter in there. And on and on and on. And it's really a shame. And changing a front panel on one of those things is no easy task. And been there, done that. Never again. But yeah, if you find an unmolested set, that's for a World War II receiver, early war, they work quite well, I think. I like the 312, 342 better than the 348, even though the 348s, they work very nicely. They're broader, but I always like the 312 or a 342. Nice feel to them as well, plus the looks. Anyway, yeah, I second the motion as far as conditions this morning. Oh, and good morning to Bob, AQU. You're Q5 down here, Bob. You know, hearing all the California stations very well, but the Nevada stations have been touch and go. QSB, just no propagation between Richmond and Nevada today. Occasionally, Mike came up once to about Q4, but the rest of the time he's down in the mud. Same thing with Ron, came up once and could hear him pretty well, and then back down in the mud. And even Henry, for a while he was Q5, and then went back down about Q4 to Q3. And Chuck has been Q2 to Q3 here all morning, so yeah, not good. So, Dave, thank you for the cue. I'm going to do the same thing. 73. And maybe talk to you all next week. Here it comes, Steve, W6SSP, WA60PE.
Okay, Tom, I think N6BCT was between us. I'm not sure if he signed or not. Let me give him a chance. N6BCT, W6SSP. Pick it up, Bill.
So not receiving any signal right now. So that's the reason why I'm not having any internet connection, so I can do that. So over to W6FSP, Riley Daniel.
Okay, Bill, thank you. Boy, you came way up that time. Good copy. And, yeah, anyway, I forgot to mention, this is Steve, and I'm running Collins 32V1, 75A1 stuff here in the V1 for Mike. Yeah, you know, with the 312 and 342, these things are just horribly hacked. And, the 637 detector in first VFM1 has been replaced with a 6AC7. And one of the other tapes was replaced with an 082. And then another one, I forget what it was, 6L7 was replaced with a 6SM7. I don't know. You can just about imagine. And like I said, it's a shame that the front panel on one of them is really, really nice. So these may show up at a swap meet in the near future. I hope. I can't store stuff like this anymore. I had an interesting beginning of the week. I was revisiting one of my long-term projects. That is a homebrew AMCW two-blade, which is originally going to be 1 kilowatt. Changed a little bit. Anyway, I took a closer look at some of the parts I picked up in the bake sale last month, and I'm at 4-65A, and originally I wanted to use 4-125s as used in the Collins 30K series, but I don't have a pocket for those, and they're quite expensive. So, 2 4-65As equal 1 4-125. So, anyway, I'm back on that problem again. I use a pair of those in PA, another pair of those for the AM modulator, and the modulator section. So thinking about that still, wish I had a BMK 850 tank circuit. That would make things a whole lot easier. That's kind of what I'm concentrating on right now. So that's what I've been doing most of this week, other than the DC-312 and DC-342. And I may put all that aside and take a look at the TCS-14 this coming week, because I haven't had a chance to look at any of that stuff so far. So, anyway, conditions are still up and down here, so I think I'm going to say 73 as well. And good morning to all of you. Hopefully next weekend will be better. Over to Henry, WA7YBS, W6FFP, 73, guys.
Okay, W6SSP, WA7YBS, all right. Well, let's see, and 73 to Dave, 73 to Tom, 73 to Steve. Yeah, it's a little not as good as last weekend, last Sunday. I had some really amazing propagation during the middle of the week. And of course, maybe it's to be expected up on 17 meters, but I was just listening up there. I don't have any way to transmit there, but I can listen. And I heard a guy coming in pretty darn good, really, from Dubai, which I guess is like, well, you know where it's at, out over there south of Iran. But at any rate, it's really good conditions, really a lot of DX. But you know, I'm not familiar with how 17 meters behaves, but I would think it would be a lot like 15, and so I kind of wasn't expecting that for June. But at any rate, yeah, today the conditions are not, they're okay. Everybody's Q5 here, but I guess we're not. The 32V1 here does, you know, it's a little bit primitive compared to the 32V3. I mean, they kind of look the same, but you can tell this is the first iteration of a medium power transmitter post World War II for Collins. And Sounds like I got a mouse in the transmitter. I hope it isn't that. I hear some squeaking going on in there. So anyway, let's see, what else? I guess that's about it. I will keep it going and stick around. So over to Larry, WR6K, WA7YBS.
Okay, WA7YBS in the group. WR6K. I'm going to have to keep it fairly short because I suspect not too many people are hearing me. I'm really glad to get reacquainted with you, Ron. Gee, it's been a long time. I've seen your website and been very impressed with the work you're doing on all that military gear. I never really was too much of a technician for that sort of thing, but I've always been intrigued by it. And what else can I say? I don't think I can lift it anymore. Even if I had the room and the space and the equipment, I just don't think I could even lift it up anymore. If that's how things have gotten. But I have been working on some smaller stuff, which I'll share maybe when conditions are a little better. I have been restoring some hot water 30s. Some hot water 30s. That's the old Heathkit Tours. And I've collected 5 of them over the years from the flea markets, and with the promise that I would get them all working, and I finally have, although they're not 100%. I'm pretty close. For some reason, they all have low output power, and so I think if I find it, for one, I'll find it, all of them, and they'd just be some bad tubes. I got to get some tubes. I don't have a stock of tubes either. Anyway, I'll make my 73s this round. I'm really glad to get reacquainted with a lot of you guys, and hopefully I'll be able to get up early and see you guys 7 o'clock on Sunday mornings. And boy, I tell you, I have terrible buzzing here. It's an S9 plus buzz. So if the signal stayed below S9, I can't copy too well. The noise reduction on the TS590 I'm using for receive, it actually works fairly well to get rid of some of it, but you know, it's still not 100%. Anyway, with that, I'll say 7.3s, guys, and I hope to check in a little more often. Thanks a lot for letting me check in. WR6K 7.3, and we'll turn it over to VXY Vern. Turn it over to you, Vern. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Larry. Yeah, you mentioned the magic word tubes. Throughout my years of working with radios and stuff, replacing tubes has done wonders. And I used to have a tour. Then I had one that was given to me. I lost that in that campfire thing, but anyhow, it seems like it sure worked on this SB200. This thing is just dynamite, and I got a brand new set of 572s put in there, and that fixed most of the problems. So, remember when I was a kid, teenager, I got into ham radio, and I became somewhat of a legend within the family, I guess. But I was replacing picture tubes. I know it on televisions, you know, the CRTs, learn not to get shocked, but and other things, they just put the tube, it needs new tubes, and because I had been to school enough by then to realize that there was a shelf life, which I didn't use that term back then, but on tubes, and the best thing you can do if it's getting weak or not quite right, put in a new tube. They were pretty plentiful back then. And I remember my folks, this was a friend of my parents, and they grew up with, and we'd go over there for a dinner a couple times a year, and they'd say, "Hey, Vern, you know, my TV set's still working. That is the best thing ever done. That's great." You know, it made me feel pretty good. And someone else mentioned persistence. That's what my latest project is, learning to program these different 2-meter and other sets. My latest one will be the 2300. I don't have the software or anything on that, but I've got a manual that I can read now. I've enlarged it, and I'm going to program that thing. That's it. You know, I called the manufacturers a couple times and got some tips, and that helped me with my FT60, which I took with me up to see most of you guys there at the swap meet. That was great. Anyhow, and Bob meant to mention, had a nice visit. You know, I was with you, I think, about a half hour up there at your I guess it's a motorhome. Yeah, it was a motorhome that saw that wonderful ART-16. I didn't know quite what to make of that. That was pretty impressive. But then I enjoyed the visit with your dog, and then that guy from the TV with the YouTube came by and visited. But that was a great time there. And the dog, they have a nice dog there. And that thing your wife had there, that looked interesting. I think when we get another dog that gets something like that, it'd be neat to have a whistle to train her. And but anyhow, that was just a great visit. And Ron, I did look at your station. Boy, you have NU6F. You've got some equipment. That is very impressive. Wow. And so I will be looking forward to going to the swap meet again if there's anything else, because that really made my month or whatever, just going up there and seeing everybody. And it's kind of neat now when I see you guys, I hear you guys on the radio. I picture you as you really are, not an imaginary person tied to a voice. So it's great. And I will turn it over to Henry. I've got pictures of you with your stuff and everything, and I got Chuck. I've got pictures of you with your stuff too. And I don't know how to ship those things out on the internet, and a couple of them didn't work out because I got a group picture of all of you, but it's part of a photo. I was having problems. I pushed the wrong button when I took your group picture. That was a picture I had Chuck and Carla, and then there was Henry and his friend there, and then Mike was there at the end. And I think someone came in next to Mike, but I didn't have a picture of that, but the picture came out great. But I don't know how to send it. That'll be another thing where my persistence, as one of you guys mentioned, that works for me better than anything I ever learned in school or on the job. You just keep at it. And my latest thing is I am going to learn how to program these machines, repeater types and regular type machines, and get good at it to where I can just pick up a radio and do it. It may be more of a challenge that I'm ready for, but that's the sort of thing that's fascinating me right now. So Bob, with that, and good morning to everybody. I'll turn it over to you. W6AQU and the groups. Oh, your signal's out. This is a great location. I meant to mention that. I hear everybody great. You guys are coming in very well. Must be a good spot. And I learned through, I got to finally realize what these lines on a map are. Now, that's bad. But I saw these lines and gee, what are those lines? Then I've got another map here I've had a while, and it has degree markings on it. So I know where north is for sure, and how to orient my antenna a little different. I don't quite favor everybody, but my alignment is not north-south with the ends of the antenna. It's probably 30 degrees would be more north, what do they call it, north-northwest. It's pointing to north-northeast. So one end of my strongest part of my signal would be here from Groveland, would probably lined up with San Luis Obispo, somewhere like that. And let's see, is that right? Up at Groveland, well, maybe more like Santa Barbara. That's probably broadside, the peak of it. And then going up in Nevada, somewhere in the desert. It might be why you guys hear me up there. But I've got a tweak I got to do to it. I think it'll make it even better. Higher and even more pointing generally at everyone. We'll see. So back over to you, Bob. W6AQU is K6VXY.
Yeah, Vern turned it over to you. Bob, go ahead.
Okay, boy, right at the end there, first signal just started fading away. This W6AQU. Solid up to the last 10, 15 seconds there, Vern. Morning to you. Well, let's see. Back up to the top here. Mike, yeah, that stopping was a lot of fun over there. Golly. And Ron, again, this is your last time here. Well, I'm glad Larry's got a project. That'll be a fun thing there, getting that thing going. All right. MQI. Dave is signed out, but good morning if you're listening. OPE. Your signal was starting to fade, which is unusual. I think you signed out. Good morning. Bill had a very difficult time trying to pull in Half Moon Bay. It's really, with your distortion and weak signal, you just kind of went away. Well, Steve, yeah, those receivers are a lot of fun. Not so much so recapping or working on them. My first receiver was a 342N that I got back in 1948. That was my first receiver. I like them quite a bit. I recently had one, but I got rid of that because of the weight. Even if you take them out of the bulletproof case, they're still pretty heavy. Now, good luck with that. Yeah, Henry, I was able to copy that time. Earlier transmission. So who knows? I don't think conditions are going to get better, though. The sun gets higher in the sky. Larry, good morning to you if you're still there. And Vern, you're still holding up in there. Yeah, we have a lot of fun with that dog. She's 11 months old, like a small horse. And we have a lot of acreage here, so she runs wild. She has all kinds of fun out here, chasing the deer, the turkeys, the rabbits, whatever. So with that, I guess I'm going to say my 73s before I'm out of the picture here. So good morning to all. Back up to the top. Chuck, it was good to see you guys over there. See you next time. K0DWC. W6A will clean up.
Okay, Bob, W6AQU, K0DWC. Yeah, it was good seeing you guys, too, there. It's always a treat to see everybody there. You only get to see you once a year, but we're glad you're there. So, great to see you and everybody. You're piercing right through all this noise and stuff, Bob. You were 100% copy all the way through with that. So, and so was Vern. Vern was pounding in here, too, but... 7-3s to Dave, Steve, Tom, Bob, and Larry. And Ron, I want to wish you a good, safe trip across the pond there, and we'll be looking forward to your return in 4 months. And sounds like you got Lucky Larry on a project that he can stay busy on till you get back. So it was good seeing Lucky Larry too at the swap meet. When I asked him if he was going with you, he looked at me like, "Are you out of your mind?" Oh, but anyway, okay, guys. Well, let's do a marathon 7-3 round here. The conditions are starting to deteriorate pretty good now, so we'll go ahead and we'll send it back up to Mike for the 7-3 round, guys. So W7MS K0DWC, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Chuck. Now that I found the right foot switch, K0DWC W7MS. Well, first of all, thanks, Chuck, for running the show this morning. Quite a esteemed group of folks here in the rotation, and my apologies for maybe not directing comments to everyone's discussion, but just quite a group here. But we got the rundown on the continuing saga of the GRC 106 from Dave, and I'm glad to see there's a few times where he's wrung his hands and says he's given up, but we know he'll be back. It's got that special attraction. It's the Mount Everest of radios there in Livermore. And also comments to Bob on the puppy. That was great. That was the first thing I asked your wife, was the age on the puppy dog, because I knew it was young, and it had the training collar on it. But beautiful dog. So enjoyed the conversation with your wife, and then also the embarrassment of the impulsive nature of the puppy dog, and trying to keep it in line there at the same time. But it was great to meet the two of them. And I think with that, I'll say 7-3s. Thank you. It's been great. And over to Ron on his final transmission from Lemon Valley. Well, he'll probably maybe knock out a little CW contacts here between now and departure time. NU6F W7MS.
Okay, good deal, guys. Well, good copy. Actually, signal picked up a little bit and then dropped. So, yeah, we are fighting the ether waves. And Steve, yeah, feel your pain on the hamsterized BC 312 and 342. But hey, a nice front panel. That's something to be expected. It's worth something. And yeah, I've got a new. I just heard some interference pick up on this last round. It's one of my bogies. It's every 10 kc, and it's weak. It's just, and it's far away. The noise canceller doesn't touch it, and so it's just far enough away from me that it's not local, super local noise. But anyhow. Yeah, quick rundown. Not sure if Larry, WR6K, if you're still listening, but okay on the HW30s. You found your niche. And Vern, yeah, when you talked about the TV repairs, I think we all were there. That yeah, maybe the DeSilva boy can go ahead and work on the TV set. So I was glad to make the transition from mowing lawns to fixing TV sets. That was a lot of fun back in the day. Plus, if the TV set was total loss, I'd at least salvage the power transformer out of it for power supplies for the R5 or 6146 project. So it was all good. Yeah, kids nowadays haven't got that. They can't salvage much from a TV set to make a radio, but we could then. And Bob, ditto, great seeing you again. And the puppy, I never did find out what if the ART13 found a home. I'm sure you sold it before you left, but yeah, hopefully we'll hear it on the air someday. And Henry, okay, on the oh yeah, on your 51J1 and finding the serial number. It's funny you mentioned that off old crime series. I was watching some crime series, and they did a mock-up of a police headquarters, and the dispatcher had a microphone, and the cable was going to an R5 sitting all by itself. No power supply, nothing else, but I got a chuckle out of that. All right, Dave, yeah, keep looking for the ideal collection of GRC 106 parts, but if I ever do get one, I know where to send it. All right, guys, 73 is good hearing you, and yeah, the Odyssey starts tomorrow, and I will The timing's bad, so let's see, it's usually I'm 8 hours, 7 hours ahead there, so net time comes out in the afternoons on Sundays, but if I think of it, I'll tune around on the SDR and hear you guys occasionally. All right, and Jerry will probably run across you on 17 meters or 20 meters. So with that, 73s, Jerry, take it away, W6JRY, NU6F.
Okay, Ron, NU6F in the group W6JRY. Okay, yeah, everybody's still copy here, but it is getting on, and the sun is getting higher, that's for sure. So 73s to all. I don't have anything else here. Yeah, maybe we can make a contact there. 17 is a good band. Yeah, Henry, a lot of stuff on that band. Sometimes it's surprising. Don't have to use a lot of power on there if you get the propagation right. So one of my favorite bands is 17 meters, and really enjoy that band. Like they got a portable collinear antenna that I built. It was some kind of a design from a W5 something or other, but it's an 80 to 6 meter collinear that I've used with my 5-watt TS 817, and it really works good. It really works well. And one of the bands I've used it a lot on is when I used to do a lot of more portable work, and over in Nevada. The 17 meter band was one of the best for that antenna and some low power. Anyway, 73s to all, and I guess it goes over to Bill, it looks like here. And 73s all the way around. Bob, you're still coming in here, good signal, no problem. So, Bill, N6 BCT is W6JRY, and we'll be listening out.
Okay, Bill, N6BCT, WA7YBS. Yeah, you're pretty well down there. That was like ESP, borderline ESP anyway. The BFO was the key indicator there that the carrier stopped, and I could hear you, but I really couldn't understand what was being said. Everybody else is still maintaining Q5 ability, so that's good. And a note to Vern, the friend there is the XYL of going to be the end of this month, be 54 years married to her. So yeah, she's more than a friend, the XYL. Sharon is her name. So anyway, it's too bad you can't get the picture sent. You got my email. Push a few buttons. Push a few buttons, and you'll get there. You know, usually there's a little 3 dots with lines connecting the 3 dots in the form of a Y that's kind of laying on its side, and that's a share button. You hit the share button, your menu will come up, and you should have a Gmail or something like that icon, and hit that, and you should be able to send the picture as an attachment on the email that way. So it's pretty easy on a smartphone. So anyway, with that, we will say 73 and turn it over to Vern, K6VXYWA7YBS.
Okay, thanks, Henry. The share button. Yeah, I've seen that. And apologies, I didn't. Some ladies were introduced as friends, and others not. So my apologies. 54 years. Your wife's name is Sharon. Yeah, I got a weird picture that I got of you guys I hit the button, you're all in it, and then all of a sudden it starts scanning your equipment. So I must have hit some button that made a video out of it, and then it went to, I'm going to try that on my cell phone. I'll get it. Like I said, I'm persistent, and I will do that. 54 years, yeah. Wife and I, we're coming up to what year? 66. 56. We were married in the summer of 66, so you must have been married in the summer of 68. Yeah. Well, in 68, that was a turbulent year or something. We came to California after we got married. I was married back in Syracuse, New York, just out of the Navy. I spent 6 months there after I got out of the service. I got married, and we went cross-country. The adventures awaiting us in it wasn't called it then, but it was Silicon Valley. So, yeah, I'll work on that. I'll get something going there. And Bob, it was nice. I'll turn it over to you. One of the nicest things about the visit with you was those wonderful folding chairs you have, which I sat in for a good half hour and rested my sore knee. But yeah, that's okay. I'll get these. I'll find some way to do it. Then share. Yeah, and I know you're on Gmail because I have your email. I'll find some way of doing it, and it may come out like that video did on AMI or whatever its call was. A little funny at first, but it'll come out nice when I'm done with it. But I got all the pictures on my phone, so I'll figure out something. I want to go from the phone direct, because that's where they were preserved when they put them on my what do they call that? It's something Apple uses, iCloud. That's where some of them got a little funny or missing. They wouldn't translate them. So 73's all, and we'll catch you later. Hopefully next week. It depends if I sleep right. I was watching a wonderful movie last night. I finally saw the end of it. I think it was made about back in 2009, where these guys get this plane, jet plane, and they can make it go, how many miles? 1,000 miles a minute. And they go for an orbit around the moon. That gets messed up, and they line up to the sun. But what's it called? Sun something? I'll remember if anyone wants. But I was watching that late last night. So I shouldn't have been watching movies late at night before the net. So back to you. Yeah, share. That's a good thing. A good tip there, Henry. I've seen that. Afraid of it, but not now. Okay, Chuck, and say hello to Carla. It's K6BXY saying 73s to all. It's super great time.
Okay, Vern. You take care, my friend. Thank you for being there. Thank you all for being there. You guys make this net. You have a wealth of knowledge, and it's definitely appreciated. Every one of you are appreciated, that's for sure. But there was 12 of us counting me, I guess, and very nice net this morning. Conditions were marginal, but doable. So thank you again all for being there. Henry will be net control next weekend, and Larry, WR6K, if you're still listening, we're here every Sunday morning. We've changed the the summer hours. We've bumped it back a little bit. We start around 7:15 the net in the morning now until fall starts, and we'll go back to 7:30. But a lot of the guys, as you probably already heard or saw, was they get on early. So anyway, yeah, a little bit earlier for the summer. So Anyway, this is K0DWC, and I'll be closing the Vintage Military Radio Net for today. I'd like to thank everybody for their participation and invite everyone back next Sunday morning. And with that, we'll we'll turn the frequency back over to regular amateur use. So have a good day today, fellows, and a good week ahead. Everybody be safe out there, and we'll talk to you next Sunday. So this is K0DWC signing off. 7-3s, guys.